In the heart of ancient Jerusalem, during a time of war and kings, lived a woman named Bathsheba. Her story, woven into the very fabric of biblical history, is one of tragedy, ambition, and ultimately redemption. It begins on a rooftop, under the warm Middle Eastern sun. Bathsheba was the wife of Uriah the Hittite, one of King David's most loyal and elite soldiers. While Uriah was away at war, fighting for his king and country, Bathsheba lived her life in Jerusalem. One evening, as King David walked on the roof of his palace, his eyes fell upon a woman of extraordinary beauty bathing on a nearby rooftop. That woman was Bathsheba. Instead of turning away, David was consumed by desire. He sent messengers to find out who she was, and upon learning she was the wife of his trusted soldier, he did not relent. He summoned her to the palace. In that era, a king's command was absolute, leaving Bathsheba with little choice. Their encounter set in motion a devastating chain of events. Soon after, Bathsheba sent a message to the king with 3 simple, terrifying words: "I am pregnant." Panic set in for David. His sin was about to be exposed. A public disgrace that would tarnish his reign and his reputation as a man after God's own heart. His first instinct was to cover it up. He recalled Uriah from the battlefield, hoping the soldier would go home to his wife, and everyone would assume the child was his. But Uriah's integrity was unshakable. He refused to enjoy the comforts of home while his comrades were still at war, sleeping instead at the entrance to the king's palace. David's plan had failed. Desperate, the king resorted to a far darker scheme. He wrote a letter, sealed it, and handed it to Uriah himself. The letter was addressed to Joab, the army commander, and it contained a death sentence. The instructions were clear. Put Uriah in the front line where the fighting is fiercest, then withdraw from him so he will be struck down and die. Uriah, unknowingly carrying his own execution order, returned to the battlefield and was killed, just as David had planned. When word of Uriah's death reached Jerusalem, Bathsheba mourned for her husband. After the customary period of mourning had passed, David brought her into his palace, and she became his wife. Soon, she gave birth to a son. It seemed as though David had gotten away with it, but the Lord was displeased. The prophet Nathan was sent to confront the king. He told David a parable about a rich man who stole a poor man's only beloved lamb. David, incensed by the injustice, declared that the rich man deserved to die. Nathan's reply was chilling and direct: "You are the man." Nathan laid bare David's sin, the adultery, and the murder. The consequences, he prophesied, would be severe. The sword would never depart from David's house, and the child born to him in Bathsheba would not live. David was shattered, his heart broken by the weight of his guilt. He repented deeply, but the prophecy came to pass. The baby boy fell gravely ill, and despite David's fasting and prayers, the child died. The palace was filled with a profound sorrow, a stark reminder of the cost of sin. This could have been the end of Bathsheba's story, a tragic figure. A victim of a king's lust and power, left to grieve the loss of her husband and her child, but her journey was far from over. In the aftermath of their shared grief, David comforted Bathsheba. Their relationship, born from sin, began to transform into something more. She conceived again and gave birth to another son. They named him Solomon, and the Bible tells us that the Lord loved him. Years passed. David grew old, and the kingdom was once again thrown into turmoil, this time over the question of succession. Adonijah, another of David's sons, declared himself king without his father's consent, gathering support and preparing to seize the throne. It was at this critical moment that Bathsheba re-emerged, no longer a passive victim, but a decisive political player. Alerted by the prophet Nathan, she understood the danger. If Adonijah became king, her life and the life of her son, Solomon, would be in grave danger, as new kings often eliminated potential rivals. Summoning her courage, Bathsheba went before the aging King David. She bowed respectfully, but spoke with strength and purpose. She reminded him of the oath he had once sworn to her, that her son, Solomon, would be the one to reign after him. "My lord the king," she said, "the eyes of all Israel are on you, to learn from you who will sit on the throne of my lord the king after him. Otherwise, As soon as my lord the king is laid to rest with his ancestors, I and my son Solomon will be treated as criminals." Her words, combined with the counsel of the prophet Nathan, stirred the old king to action. David renewed his promise and acted swiftly, commanded that Solomon be anointed king immediately. In a grand public ceremony, Solomon rode on the king's own mule to Gihon, where Zadok the priest and Nathan the prophet anointed him king over Israel. The sound of trumpets and the cheers of the people echoed through Jerusalem. Long live King Solomon. Bathsheba's mission was successful. She had secured the throne for her son, fulfilling the promise God had made through David. From a woman caught in a terrible scandal, she had become the queen mother, one of the most powerful and influential positions in the kingdom. As the mother of the king, her status was second only to Solomon himself. We see this honor when Solomon rises from his throne to meet her, bows down to her, and has a throne placed for her at his right hand. Bathsheba's story is complex. It's a narrative that grapples with power, abuse, sin, and consequence. Yet it's also a story of survival and influence. Through immense pain and loss, she navigated the treacherous courts of power to not only survive, but to ensure her son would become one of Israel's greatest kings, known for his wisdom and for building the first holy temple in Jerusalem. Her legacy is forever linked to the royal line that would, according to Christian tradition, eventually lead to the Messiah. From a rooftop in Jerusalem, Bathsheba's life was irrevocably changed, setting her on a path that would shape the course of history. Thank you for watching. If you found this story compelling, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into the figures who shaped our world. We'll see you next time.